the first platoon leader of the platoon leader of the first platoon, and
Give me the dates, Tim.
I was there. Got there probably the 11th or 12th of July. I can't remember when I rotated to S1. Probably in December. In that era, 1st of January, and then they rotated me back to XO in the April-March area, and I separated out June 11th is when I left.
Just he would have been my platoon leader.
Yeah.
Now, were you at LZ Lee then?
No, I was at Grant. Most of the time was at Grant.
So what you said was like December.
Well, see, I can't remember exactly when I rotated around. It's all real
Okay.
fuzzy
Well,
to
the
me.
rear was at the rear was at Song Bay. 'Cause
Song Bay,
I
we
was,
were-
I was setting that up, and then Lee got cranked up in early January.
I must have been the. I must have
That
been
was
the.
when we built it.
Yeah, and I was the one at the time, and then we moved up someplace else, and I can't remember the name
Blanchard.
of it. For the division, I mean, to our rear, to the battalion rear.
Yeah.
Okay, and
Before Christmas, or
It was before Christmas.
it was right. It was right in that area. I can't remember
Well, I can
exactly.
tell you, we started taking Grant apart somewhere between November.
Right.
We came in and.
because
we-
that's where
all
I
we
was
did
in December,
break it
was
down.
taking Grant
Yeah.
apart. Is what I did as Alpha Company XO.
Yeah,
Was one of my duties.
yeah. Well, that's. I was still probably out in the bush when that started. I was born in England. My father and my mother were. My dad was in the Navy. My mother was an English war bride. My grandfather was in the First and Second World War, and he lied about his age and got into the cavalry, and he was in the last charge of the British cavalry in World War I, where he started out with nothing and came back as a captain, and then he was in the Second World War.
Is that in October of 17, right? Or
Summer.
October of 18?
Somewhere like that.
Yep.
Somewhere along in that area. Anyway, he was called the Major, and he was Lieutenant Colonel temporary, and then he was a Major. He never said, I can't understand you guys in the American Army, because once you join a regiment there, you're in the regiment for the entire whatever. But anyway, I didn't do so well in high school either, and I ended up repeating my senior year at Frederick Military School in Portsmouth, Virginia.
What year-
Damn, you
what-
see, we're all juvenile delinquents.
That's
We're
right.
sending
What
our
year is
butts
that?
to military
That was
school.
60. I graduated
Damn.
from Frederick. I was supposed to graduate from Granby in
God's trying to
60.
form his gang already.
Yeah,
yeah.
That was in 62. Was I was supposed to graduate, but I graduated from Frederick Military Academy in 6 lazy because I ended up, since I had to keep a book open 6 nights a week for 2.5 hours a night, I ended up with a 98 overall average because I just was being, 16, 17-year-old guy, didn't want to study. Then I went to Elon, I graduated, and my mom told me, said, there's 2 things going to happen in your life, son. And I was very little. He said, number 1, you are going to graduate from high school. And number 2, when you graduate, you got 2 choices in life. You go to college and we'll pay for it, or you're going into service. I don't care which way of service you went. So I picked college, graduated from college in 67, and 30 days later I was drafted. And then I went down, tried to get in the Air Force, and it was too much. And I said, you don't understand, I got to go. So it takes 4 months to process your paperwork. Walked across the hall to the Army, and I got sucked in. I had 2 years and 10 months. My obligation was 2 years, 10 months. Basic, AIT, OCS, 2-year obligation. And my company, when I went to basic in Fort Dix, New Jersey, which was the armpit, it was the armpit of the world. Fort Dix was.
Fort Leonard.
Anyway, it was in the wintertime and everything, and my hands froze on the ranges out there, frozen, cracked, and everybody's hands were bleeding and everything when we were out there, but we made it through and everything. Graduated from OCS, went to Fort Carson, Colorado, with the 5th Mech. Ended up with supposed to be a platoon leader, training to go to Vietnam. with the 69th Infantry Brigade, which was the Kansas National Guard.
Wichita, okay.
And when I got there, everybody was there. When I left, the only person that was left with the Kansas National Guard was the colonel. And it was very politically incorrect at that time to send the Kansas National Guard. So what the Army did, they levied everybody out individually. The colors never left never left Colorado. Therefore, the colonel was there. They never sent the Kansas National Guard to Vietnam, which they did. They sent everybody there. Just left the colors there.
That's it. I didn't know that.
Yeah, but that's what happened.
Tim, that's kind of like when they sent the big red one home.
Yeah.
They just took them out and put them in different companies.
Yeah.
Sent the flag
home, sent the flag home, and everything. So.
Newspaper reported beautifully though at first.
Yeah, and then I got into country. July. I left on the 3rd of July. Went to Yongle Warfare School where I became a Yongle expert. You know, I passed the course and.
Did you eat the raw iguana?
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. And we did all that, you know, invasion and all that stuff, in the swamps and everything, and it was, you know, I was a Boy Scout for a number of years, and that really kind of helped me.
Yep.
Yes,
No doubt about it.
You know, living
Where were you?
in it was in
Panama.
Panama. That was Panama.
Panama.
That was Panama. Yeah. And then they shipped us back, and I went to Nam. Got there. Came over to Cotton, and I've told a little story about it last night. But I came out there, and the first sergeant made me right out of the box. I had a new gun. I had new everything, and I showed up.
First day.
First
day.
He was sitting there with about 3 days of growth of beard next to Brightman,
Yeah.
and I come up there, you know. I'm OCS now, see. He looks at me. He said, "What in the hell?" Because he wasn't expecting me. He wasn't expecting the lieutenant to show. And he said, "What in the hell am I going to do with you?" And he thinks about it, and Sergeant Ski was the platoon sergeant of.
The South Korean murderer.
Right.
You got it.
Right. And I had passed him on the way in. He got off the bird because he had a dental problem. He had first platoon, and so he calls up, I think it was Sergeant Clark, on the radio, because the way he liked to operate, because you made too much noise when you're going through, so he broke us down into platoons, and we moved a platoon at a time, you remember. And so he calls him up there, and he comes and gets me. And I said, fine, and I follow him over there, and we come across a little stream, and there's a way you walk across those, as you guys know, and everything, and of course, I go in there, and I fall in that stream. So I show up to the first platoon, looking like a wet rat, and when the guys saw me, and they saw me, and I said, oh, shit. I'm quite sure that's exactly what the guy said, because here I am, a brand new second lieutenant, brand new uniforms, FNG, and you're going to lead me into battle, right?
You had your jungle training patch on.
Yeah, no, I didn't have that on. They deauthorized that as I got there. But anyway, we were there, you know, and then all of a sudden,
FNG is friggin' new guy with some modification.
Right.
Okay.
Fucking you guy.
And that's what, you know, and I'm quite sure, nobody ever said anything to my face, but I know what was going on, okay?
Well,
Don't you think
everybody
we all
that
were
was
there?
was an FNG.
At one time, you know, since I was soaking wet and everything, and, you know. Anyway, so then all of a sudden it comes over the radio, we were pulled out to go OPCON to cover a fire base that first night. So we get everybody there, he pulls us up there, and then Cotton calls us in, and he says, this is what I want you to do and everything. And you've seen the movie Platoon when they were in the bunkers, and it was kind of red and just dusty looking. That's what it was right there.
Yeah?
That's exactly the way it was. And I went out there and set myself up and told the guys what I wanted to do, and we were all set, and they said, yes, sir, LT, yes, sir. And I said, I'm going to be right here. And they said, it's fine, LT. Well, I didn't know that I'm sitting in defilade of a 155 parapet. And none of the guys would tell me.
Oh no!
It's a new uniform.
There was a new uniform.
You haven't told me this one.
No, I hadn't seen you. You know. But anyway, so I'm sitting there, laying there, and everything's quiet, and all of a sudden I hear, "Hold your ears." What the hell was that? Called boom. That 155. I'm laying here. That 155 was right here, and it picks me up and drops me back down. And all the guys knew it.
Of course.
They knew it. They didn't say a word to me.
You haven't told me that one.
All right, and that was my indoctrination of my first day with First Platoon of A Company of the 1st of the 12th.
No, but tell them about the firefight now.
All right.
Where you did.
Oh, I know.